Now for more on this, we are being joined by our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik from Islamabad and Ahmed Pansota from Lahore. He's a politician, he's a political analyst and also an advocate at the Pakistan Supreme Court. Welcome to the broadcast, both of you. Anas, let's begin with you. It is looking like a political and judicial conundrum in Pakistan. For you, it has been a long day reporting from the Supreme Court in Islamabad. Now, as the day wraps up, do you see any clarity than before?
Well, it's a quagmire. The country that the current country is currently facing. It won't be wrong to say, Ananya, because it's an absolute mess with a lot of confusion. The government seems to be adamant of not holding the elections, come what may, and they say that under Article 224 of the Constitution, they would want the polls to be held uniformly across the country, and that would be sometime in October. That being said, the Supreme Court is of the view that elections and the Constitution needs to be upheld, and that is the reason we're seeing this sort of a clash that is taking place between the institutions. Today there was some harsh exchange. In fact, I've been following this hearing for a week now, in and out of the Supreme Court, and today when there was a point where when the Chief Justice of Pakistan, Justice Umar Ata Bandial, had to refer to the Secretary of Defence's statement and said that armed forces are not just the military. It's not just the army that's the armed forces. It's the Pakistan Air Force and Navy. They also define the armed forces. They also fall under the category of the armed forces. So in case if push comes to shove, then they can direct that. But that's all a speculation based on the comments or based on the observations of the honorable judges that have been passed. Tomorrow is a very important day in Pakistan's constitutional history for one very reason. A year back, we saw when the constitution was abrogated, in the words of the current government, the Supreme Court had taken charge and stepped in and directed Imran Khan and his government to hold a vote of no confidence, reversing his decision of dissolving the assemblies back last year. We were there reporting, and now a year on, it looks like, or it gives this semblance that it is the government that is on the receiving end of what is believed to be the abrogation or violation of the Constitution, if not an abrogation. So tomorrow all eyes would be on the Supreme Court as to what it rules, as to what it rules, Ananya.
Yeah, now Mr. Pansota, we are hearing that the Attorney General has already submitted a plea to call for a full court bench again. Many say that this could lead to the AG leaving the case and even the ruling alliance boycotting the proceedings. Now, does this sound like clarity to you or just more chaos?
Well, to be honest, I think it's a constitutional dispute and a constitutional issue, which is precisely why it landed up before the Honorable Supreme Court of Pakistan. And the basic issue was whether the elections are to be held within the 90 days from the date of dissolution of the National or Provincial Assembly. In this case, it was the Provincial Assembly. And Supreme Court of Pakistan passed a categorical judgment that at the bare minimum possible time, this should be done. Once there was reluctance on part of the Election Commission of Pakistan, the matter ended up before the Honorable Supreme Court again. However, there was a lot of reluctance from the government side. The federal government, of course, through the Attorney General, opposed the whole idea and said that they want a larger bench to hear this case, and they also demanded full court. But Chief Justice of Pakistan, who is the sole, obviously, it's his sole prerogative to form these benches and to make sure.
Right, I think we lost Mr. Pansota there. We will be coming back to him. Anas, now, the Punjab and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, these two regions are facing hyperinflation, cost of living crisis, an economic whirlpool to say, and the state of confusion is not helping any of those issues. So what are you hearing from the people who in these two regions can be seen as collateral damage at this point?
Well, it's the people that continue to suffer, and you've rightly mentioned that Pakistan's inflation level is in staggering all-time high. It's over 40%, in fact over 30%, pardon me on that, and it's the people who continue to suffer. But broadly speaking, they also believe that the way out, because the majority, as what we understand, the popular opinion is swinging with Imran Khan, so they also are also in line and aligned with the demand of Imran Khan when he calls for an election to be held at the earliest. There is some divided opinion, but just some, but a majority or a greater majority of the population in either of the provinces I've been speaking to, be that be on ground or through different sources as well, what we understand is that they would really want the elections to be held, so that the situation that the country currently faces, the uncertainty, the quagmire that the country currently is going through, they believe that this can only end through an election. But there is also a caveat, and the caveat is that will Imran Khan accept those elections in case if he loses? And clearly there's a lot on the part of the government to lose in case if Imran Khan loses those elections, and that remains a cause of concern. Ananya?
Yes, Mr. Pansota, we briefly lost you there, but please come in with your expertise here. We have the government and the Election Commission on one side, and the opposition and the Chief Justice on the other. How do you see this crisis ending?
Well, to be honest, this is precisely the basic issue here, that Election Commission and the federal government are on one side. A supposedly Election Commission under the Constitution of Pakistan is supposed to be an independent body. And Election Commission's role has been very, I would say, it reeks of malafide over the last few months, if you have a look at it. And this is precisely why Supreme Court of Pakistan had to interfere in the whole issue. So Election Commission of Pakistan has taken steps which are not in consonance with the Constitution, and they've been relying on constitutional provisions such as free and fair elections under 218, then 224, and then several other provisions. But fact of the matter is that under the Constitution of Pakistan, the elections were supposed to be held within 90 days. Election Commission's role does not allow them to extend the date or postpone the date or issue a new date. This is precisely what the Supreme Court was examining today, and I am hopeful that a very good decision will come out tomorrow. As far as the Supreme Court is concerned, I feel it's not divided. There is a dissent in the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and 15 judges of the Supreme Court, if they are thinking independently, differently from each other, this is dissenting voice, which must be welcomed. I don't see it as a constitutional crisis to the extent that the Supreme Court is concerned. However, as far as the elections are concerned, tomorrow the Supreme Court is going to resolve it once for all.
All right, all eyes will be at the Supreme Court tomorrow. Thank you for all those insights, Anas and Mr. Pansota. Thank you for joining us on this broadcast.